It's me. Yeah, sorry about that. I fixed my camera. Hopefully, it should be able to work this time. And this book is called Stay at Home Dead. And I'm in chapter 1. Stay at Home Dead. Stay at Home Dead. Chapter 1. The dead man in the back seat of my minivan wore a t-shirt that read, "It's not a beer belly. It's a fuel tank for a sex machine." A bright red arrow pointing down below those words to the purported energy source of his purported sex machine. If I'd seen him alive before he ended up in my Honda Odyssey next to Carly's car seat, I would have called him on it, because the gut that protruded from the belly of the shirt did, in fact, looked like a belly made round and hard from years of imbibing. But at that moment I was more concerned with the blood encircling knife in his chest, why he was in my car in the parking lot of Cooper's Market, and keeping my 3-year-old daughter from seeing his corpse. I regularly found flies and business cards on the car windows, but finding a body inside was a completely new and disconcerting experience. "Daddy, who's the man in my car?" Carly asked, leaning over in the shopping cart to get a better look through the window. I wheeled the car to the back of the minivan. I'm not sure. What's he doing in there? Sleeping, I think. She looked at me with her mother's big brown eyes and narrowed them just like her mother did when she knew I was full of crap. "I don't think so." I scanned the parking lot. The unusual array of minivans, SUVs, and expensive German vehicles that traversed the streets of a little suburb north of Dallas. A sign as you enter town proclaims, "There are no thorns in rose petals." Would the dead guy be considered a thorn? I looked at Carly while I fished for my cell phone in the pocket of my jeans. "Why, don't you think so?" She cocked one eyebrow at me. "Geez, wonder how her mother taught her that one." "Because I don't hear him snoring, Daddy," she said confidently. "Like you. You snore. That's what Mama says." Her mama, my wife Julianne, did claim that I snored. I never having heard myself make any sort of noise while asleep, denied the claim vehemently. "Well, maybe he's just being quiet," I said, punching the 911 in the cell. Carly thought about that and tried to duck her head again to get a look in the back of the van. I swung the car away from the van and moved into the middle of the lot. The kid was apparently developing a taste for mobility. "Deuce," a voice called behind us. "Deuce Winters, what are you doing?" The voice, as it always did, caused me to wince. I reluctantly turned around to see Darlene Andrews and her hair headed our way. Darlene just didn't just have big hair. She had monstrosity hair. Hair that could be skied upon. Hair that could be ascended. Hair that looked like waves off the North Shore. The giant blonde configuration gave her head the look of a bobblehead doll as she shade in our direction. "What are you doing, honey?" she asked, thinking up next to her, settling her hand on my arm and winking. Darlene's greetings were always barred with some sort of sexual innuendo. Maybe it was the way she spun her hips and the too tight red pedal pushers, or the way she thrust out her not as large as one of them to be breasts, seemingly zip-locked to a matching pink halter top. Or maybe it was the fact that ever since we got to high school together, she'd been offering to take me to bed once a week. I wasn't sure. She reeked of Avalon products and cigarette smoke. Her makeup appeared to have been layered on with a paintroll of bright red lips, thick purple arcs over her eyes, brilliant pink circles over her cheeks. I was wondering how much paint thinner she used every night to clean herself up when a 911 operator answered. "I need to report a dead body," I said, trying to turn away from Dawn. Her 2-inch long nails dug into my flesh, though, and prevented me from getting too far. "Excuse me, sir?" the operator asked. "What's a dead body?" Carly asked. I lifted Carly out of the cart, held her out to Darlene, raising my eyebrows and shoving her a "please help" expression. Darlene reluctantly retracted her claws from me and took Carly. "A dead body," I repeated, attempting to step quickly out of earshot. "In my car. I'm in Rose Petal in the parking lot of Cooper's Market. Gum chewing in my ear. In your car, sir?" Darlene let out a shriek. and I turned just in time to see her raise the hand to her lips and stepped away from the van. Carly was leaning far out of her arms, still trying to get a closer look at who was occupying her back seat. Darlene shrank. In addition to staring, the resting souls of every cemetery within a 15-mile radius brought people running from the front of Cooper's. Can you just send the police, please? I asked, shaking my head, wondering why I hadn't waited to do the grocery shopping until say never. On their way, sir, the operator responded. I clicked off the phone and walked back to Darlene. I pried Carly out of her arms. Carly now shared Darlene's. I showered and cataloged order products and then went bar hopping. Deuce, Darlene said, I can't believe this. A crowd of about 30 was now standing behind her, gawking and trying to snag a look into the van. My totally uncool but state-of-the-art minivan. Leather seats, climate control interior, push button everything. Julianne called it a Porsche for stay-at-home dads. Pretty darn close. I know, Darlene, I said. I know. I just called the police. Darlene turned to me. The wide purple arcs above her eyes arched like upside-down U's. Why did you kill Benny? Benny? I asked, confused. What are you talking about? Benny who? I didn't kill anybody, Darlene. The crowd seemed to move their gaze collectively from the Honda to me. She placed one hand on her hip and pointed her other hand at the car. Benny Barnes, she pointed against for emphasis. I hadn't heard Benny's name in a while. Maybe I hadn't wanted to hear it, but I couldn't recall the last time I heard someone say it out loud. I handed Carly back to Darlene and stepped in closer to the van again, peering in through the side window. He put on about 60 pounds since high school, mostly in that supposed fuel tank. His face was puffy and red, his neck ringed with fat. The athletic physique I remembered was gone, replaced by a Pillsbury doughboy-like look. I hadn't looked much at his face when Carly and I arrived at the van, the knife in his chest and the blood around it as he sat slumped in one of the captain's chairs were a little too distracting. But Darlene was right. It was Benny, and I was screwed.